music review. Another Too Many Notes music review of, what's this? Mountain Witch with their new album, Extinct Cults.
All right, Mountain Witch. This is a stoner doom metal hard rock band from Hamburg, Germany.
I believe Hamburg is in the north.
They're formed in 2008, and they are a power trio. Consisting of Renee Rogman on drums and vocals, Renee Sitte on guitars and vocals, and Tobert Knopp on bass. This is their fourth album. It was released back on May 29th. We're looking back at this one, but it was this year on This Charming Man Records.
And here they are, by the way.
There they are. I believe Renee and Renee.
Oh, he's in the tree. There he is.
I
was like, where's the other guy?
I think they added the bass player later.
Okay, they put him in the tree.
I think the founding members are Renee and Renee. Very nice.
Renee.
Together we go by Renee.
Yes.
All right. And what do we do now?
Now we will evaluate this in our criteria that are exclusive to Here Lies Metal. We have true versus nonconformist, right? We have Sonic Terror versus distorted pop, Fisher Price versus high production, Enough Notes versus Too Many Notes, and Fun versus Focus. Those are pretty self-explanatory, and they are either they're weighed on on either side of center. They're not no positive or negative. Like I said, they're kind of like a litmus test. It's like sort of this side or that side. You know what I mean? So anyway, let's what we got first.
All right. So our genre scale, true. We deem these to be true doom metal, stoner metal, hard rock. What I would really call this is like those Sabbath sound-alikes that came around in the early 80s.
Yes. Or like, or
70s.
Or like early 70s, right after Sabbath. I mean,
there
was different stages of that kind of music.
Yeah, there was a lot. But I think Pagan Altar and Witch Finds.
Yeah, so late 70s. More of like new wave British heavy metal style of second Sabbath wave. That's what that would be. That would be like included new wave British heavy metal.
You said you picked up a lot of Pentagram on this.
Yeah, which is all in that era.
I agree.
Yeah, because there was like a whole scene of bands that came out right after Sabbath, but those are more like psychedelic sounding. Those are more like...
Well, these guys do have a bit of a psychedelic sound.
Yeah, so they're definitely influenced by that as well.
These guys in particular, like they're very, in the genre, and within that genre, I would say they're less on the bluesy side. They do have a little bit of bluesy to them, but definitely not too bluesy. They're more on the psychedelic side, but again, definitely not a psychedelic band. The main thing about them, I would say, is they're not riff focused, which is why they're not in the more modern mid 80s to 90s doom stoner.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a riff focused album. This is, what you say, strumming?
Yeah, songwriting, like songwriting.
Yes, the focus is definitely on
chords.
The chords, the songwriting, on the main melodies. The main memorable parts are the vocals for sure. It's a, clean, kind of like that thin vocal.
Yeah, and the songs are
at the time
are kind of simple, sort of like just this chord, that chord, this chord, almost like punk rock, not punk rock, but simple.
Then it's not like most of the part. It's not really like Abacab song structure for the most part. They are in parts, but it's not like they're jamming. They're not jamming at all. They're not noodling. Like they compose these songs. There's a heavy focus on songcraft.
Yeah.
I will say, it's not like the riffs are bad, but again, they're just not in focus.
Yeah, they don't drop that riff.
Yeah, like the only riffs that stood out to me, like there's a very Sabbath worshipy riff on the band song called "Worship You," and a fun, more up-tempo one on the song "Man is Wolf to Man." But other than that, riffs. I mean, the riffs are there, but they're just kind of chilling in the back. They're not like stealing the stage.
Dominant,
here.
Yeah. It's not like Matt Pike. It's not dominant. Yeah. It's not like sticking them in your face.
But it's not slow doom. Again, it's not modern. It's that like proto doom.
Yeah, it's like there's some bands that are doing this style, like sort of like that retro-y. They're like retro doom bands.
Very retro doom. It's mid tempo. It's not extremely slow. It's also not fast, of course.
It's not super tuned down. Not trying to be super heavy.
And it stays pretty close to that mid tempo. For the whole album. Whole album's not too dynamic at all, I would say. Very consistent, very fuzzy, acid drenched.
It's not brutal.
No, not brutal at all.
They're not looking for that.
It's going for that fuzzy sound, and only like maybe a few sparse sections, but again, mostly very non-dynamic. Just this is your doom. This is your true doom, true proto doom to be exact.
Yeah, it's really the first sort of like so it's paying homage to like the first like the second wave of doom really, to like that really made all the music today possible. It's like, the area between Black Sabbath and now, sort of like that. Kind of living in there.
Before pre-Candlemass.
Yeah, pre-Candlemass. Sure.
All right.
Sonic
Terror to Distorted Pop, our listenability scale. This is a 5 for Distorted Pop.
Yeah, it's very easy. It's easy.
It's nice, good time.
You can just tell by the cover it's easy.
It's relaxing to listen to. It's not very heavy at all. It's catchy, but not like annoyingly or cloyingly catchy. It's just like nicely catchy. It's very groovy. It's a groovy album.
They sound like old Cadaver to me. But Cadaver's doing the same thing though. Like early Cadaver albums, not like now Cadaver. I mean, like when very like they're German, something like that sound.
Yeah. My nominated hit single for this album is "Man Is Wolf to Man." It's got an infectious riff, one of the more interesting riffs of the album, and the vocals and riffs are just more very plaintive and evocative, I would say. And I nominate that as the single.
He was on a short, so it's not gonna be short enough.
I mean, there's other catchy songs on it, but I nominate that as the 5 of listenability.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. There's no. Yeah, that's just absolutely solid. That's written in stone. There's no other place you could put it. So.
All right. Yeah. On the production scale, Fisher Price Pie Production, wasn't really sure. I'm not really sure where to put these guys.
Yeah. See.
Because say the riffs aren't. What is centered on this album is the production. This production is period perfect. This sounds like it's from then. Yeah, they're looking for that. There's a lot of bands that are looking to get that late 70s kind of sound. The only other band does it as well is Uncle Acid. Yeah. And I wouldn't say musically they're intensely similar to Uncle Acid, but their approach to production is very close to them, I would say. They're obviously really focused on, we got to get it to sound that way. And I think that costs more. That actually is production to do that. Like, it's not a lack of production to do it. It is production to do that. I've recorded stuff before. And to get it to, and you're not just going to hit the record button, it's going to sound like that. You've got to do things to make it sound like that. If that involves using original equipment, well, that costs money. So that's production. Yeah. So production, like the guitars and vocals, very fuzzy. Mix is very balanced. Otherwise, not highlighting anything particular. But yes, it sounds old. Yeah, that's what they're going for. And if you have some kind of production fetish, you want to listen to this album. Some retro production fetish, you're out there. Yeah, they did a good job. It sounds authentic. It sounds genuine from that time. You could always tell people are faking it, but this they use some kind of computers to do it. But I don't know, they got it done. They did it well. Yeah, I mean, you can tell there's a lot of bands that production is like maybe like 4th on their list of priorities. I wouldn't be surprised if production was number 1 for these guys. Yeah, it's got to sound like this. Like other guys are like, oh, my guitar solos, or like the riffs. It's like, no, this is production. Maybe it caused some arguments. They're like, no, we got to worry about the songs. Like, no, it's got to sound like it. Yeah, but what about no, it's got to sound like this. It's like, this is first. It's like, okay, all right. If that was a problem, comment down below. Probably. I'm like, How many notes were there? There wasn't like there's not a lot. It's not intimidating. No, the riffs are basic. As I said, the riffs aren't important. Not trying to blow your mind. That's fine. I like that. There are guitar solos. They're competent, but they're understated. They're not bad music. They're just like, we're not going to do that. That's not where we live. It's not about guitar solos. Yeah. It's just there for effect, really. Yeah, we're not going crazy. But yeah. They're not even going like Tony Iommi crazy. It's not even, and that's pretty simple. They're not even going there. They're just keeping it really simple. Yeah, the focus is on the songwriting and not any kind of single virtuosic performance at all. All the parts are simple. I would say maybe even they could use a few extra notes sometimes. Yeah, there's it's very straightforward. Like one kind of like part, like just very simple, very like the drums are very, simple. It's very simple beats, but catchy beats. It makes it very catchy. Makes it all very catchy. Yeah. And one last note is the synths on one song, "Back from the Grave." I don't think there's synths on any of the songs on the album that I could notice, but I really like them, and I think they should add a 4th member just for synths. Yeah, just a guy playing synths. Maybe they tour with a synth player. But yeah, it's always cool to put that synth in there. Sort of like a Sirith Ungol kind of thing. Like they kind of throw a synth in there.
You know, like those bands like Serathungle and that, you know, or like Witchfind and stuff. Sometimes they throw like a synth in there. They're even kind of, well, I think they were kind of even trying to sound like sort of like pop punk band, no, pop punk, like post punk bands at the time, you know. So they were kind of like, because that was cool. So I think that's where those original bands kind of threw synths in there, and synths were kind of cutting edge back then, you know. Like Ozzy had a synth. It's obviously like, look, I got a synth. Whoa, you know, Mr. Crowley, you know, I got a synth. You know, it was cool back then. So yeah.
All right. Lastly, our fun scale. It wasn't. I don't know. I feel like these guys, are they fun or are they serious?
Well, it comes out fun, but you know, I don't know how they're interpreting it. It comes out fun to me because it's not, you know, because all the other factors previously discussed, you know, because of where those things are, it comes out fun to me because it's easy album. Listen, it's a short album. It's easy to listen to. And you know, it's simple. It's lyrically
short and sweet.
It's lyrically simple.
On the other hand, I think these guys, to produce this again with this high degree, this very genuine article production.
Yeah, obviously that's the focus, but you know,
required a lot of focus. I'm sure
that makes the album kind of more fun.
Very
though.
Serious about it.
Yeah, that makes the album more fun to me.
Subject matter of the lyrics, if you're listening to them, it's kind of dark, standard issue metal.
I think
doom lyrics, maybe.
Lyrics are very translated.
This is English second language,
yeah,
yes.
For sure. They're very translated. It's like some silly, you know.
What was your favorite
to
lyric?
Us. There's one song on the second track where he goes, I kicked some ass tonight. You know, it's very, you know, like Manowar used to say things like that, you know, but they were like,
well,
you
they
know.
wouldn't say some ass.
You know, they would kick everyone's ass, you know. But, you know, it's kind of like, you know, it's almost kind of like, it's, you know, kind of think that someone doesn't speak good English might say. You know, kick your ass tonight.
Well, they get to say that. It's fine.
You know? Yeah. It's, you know.
It's fine. They get to say
it's nothing that an American would say, you know, purposefully.
Yeah. I mean, some of the riffs are a little dark sounding, I guess, but there's no serious bite to them. Like, there's no, like, evil crunch to these guys at all.
They're not trying to be.
So.
Yeah, they're trying to be culty, but like in a rock way. Like, you know, like the first like culty music was like, you know, was like folk or rock. It wasn't like metal, you know, and that's what they're really going for. Like, you know, like if you go back to like, you know, like Coven or something, that's like folk music and it's like about evil things, but it's not metal in any way, you know. And I think that's where a lot of these early bands, they had a lot of evil symbolism and stuff, but you know, they weren't heavy, you know, because like, you know, satanic stuff didn't really, it wasn't synonymous with heavy music. It was like, you know, it was more celebratory kind of music.
In conclusion, I really like these guys' approach. Oh, let's look at the album art.
Look, what's this here? This is kind of cool. This is very retro looking. Very like, you know, almost like an Uncle Acid comic cover, you know.
Maybe that's why I'm also thinking of Uncle Acid.
Yeah, it's got like that style. That
what is happening
very
here?
constructivist style.
So that's like a mountain.
It's like a Stonehenge thing.
It looks
there.
like a woman's eye. So maybe that's the mountain witch.
And there's a Black Widow, but it's got an upside down cross on it instead of maybe it's not a Black Widow. It's got stripes on it. So I don't know.
That's just a regular spider.
But it's got like an upside down cross on it.
It's the devil spider.
It's a devil spider. What bites you, you turn into a demon instead of Spider-Man. Yeah, extinct cults. I don't know what they mean by extinct cults.
The artwork is by Oliver Ferreira.
Yeah, it's cool artwork. Extinct cults. It sounds very Lovecraftian. I don't know.
But in conclusion, I really appreciate these guys' approach. You know, we don't, I would say, anymore listen to a lot of doom.
Because there's nothing interesting out.
Our joke around here is that there's no more doom stoner riffs left. We're gone. We're done. So.
Yeah, ever since Sleep came, and you know, mostly Sleep. When Sleep came out with the album after 20 years, everyone was like, Sleep finally, because everyone was like, when is Sleep gonna come out with their album? Then they did. Everyone was like, yeah, this is awesome. And like, all right, I guess, what do we do now?
What we do now,
we go home,
is we get back to our roots and release albums that do not focus on the riffs. Yeah. No more riff worship. So yeah, good album. I recommend. It's an easy listen. It's a fun listen, and check it out. Mountain Witch, Extinct Cults.
Yeah, they got their they got their thing here, so you know, check it out in here. And they don't have anything available here. No, just got a couple albums. Yeah, so
this is their fourth
album. They've been around for a while. So yeah, they're only one of the
Mountain Witch, not Witch Mountain.
Only one of the not Witch Mountain, not to be confused with Witch Mountain from Oregon, which are not nearly as good. Sorry. So yeah. Guess what? You know, this. If you want stoner doom, this is what's going on, because there's not a lot going on there right now. So this is what's going on. It's actually unique. So bing, listen to it.